본인은 친절한 사람들이 좋다네. 거미집의 동료들은 영 친절함과는 거리가 멀긴 하지만 돌아가면 또 혼자 또 딴 생각하다가 낙오됐다고 구박할 테지. 나리 친절한 나리가 보고 싶어지기 시작했다네.
Sora wasn't okay. Greetings and salutations everyone, I'm Ekmak, this is Limbus Company. It's been quite some time, hasn't it? We have new extractions to go over, but I also have the new Ishmael to dispense, so let's just have a look at this. Lobotomy Ego Lamp, so Ego Gear LCE Limbus Company. Intense Stare, 0 range. If these conditionals are met, coin power +1. If the target is faster than this unit, if this unit is 1 or lower in speed, if the target has Dazzle. Also gain coin power for the target having Sinking and Burn. If the previous conditionals are met, give 2 Clash power. I guess they don't want to give extra coin power when you're packing 4 coins, but eh. So this rolls an 11, and this rolls 15, but it rolls it across 4 coins, so it's not good for skill checks. If target is Sinking plus Burn, gain extra coin power. On hit, inflict 3 Sinking count. Inflict 2 Sinking on the second coin, also deal blunt damage as well. Inflict Burn on the third coin and Burn count on the fourth coin. Unfortunately, I think that it's not going to inflict its own conditional with the entire attack. There's just slightly not enough. So you need a target that's already got burn or has a lot of sinking count and sinking potency on it. Skill 3, Salvation for those enchanted by the lamp. If the following conditions are met, gain a coin power and deal 40% more damage. If the target's speed is faster than this unit by 3 or more. If this unit's speed is 1 or slower. If this target has Dazzle. Gain coin power if they have the singing power. If the target has Dazzle, gain 3 Clash power and become unbreakable coins. That's actually not too bad. Also rolls a 17 by default. If the target is defeated or if it has 3 Dazzle, gain plus coin boost next turn. For every Sinking plus Burn, take extra damage from base attack skills. Change their panic type to Dazzle. Without SP, lose defense level. This effect is not cumulative. Inflicting it will replace the current value with inflicted value. Apply conditional to enemies that have SP but can't change their effects. Dazzle, gain bind and 2 offense level. Gain bind and 4 offense level. Okay. It does gain plus coin boost, but this is going to be a lot harder than Air Gregor had. So, 1 burn count, 3 sinking count. Inflict burn and then sinking. If the target has 25% or less, or if it has Dazzle, deal extra damage. If the target does have Dazzle, then deal gloom damage equal to 80% of this coin's final damage. All very messy and complicated stuff. So, passives. Dazzling Lamp. Gain 1 lamp at turn start. Gain bind for every 2 stacks at max stacks. If there is an enemy, consume all the stacks to gain the following effects next turn. Gain 10 aggro and inflict 3 Dazzle to the enemy core. So that's why it has, if this unit's speed is 1 or lower, because eventually you're just going to be rolling minimum speed range. But when it throws it away, then you lose that extra conditional stuff. When gaining haste, gain clash power instead. Right. External effects cannot change min and max speed. When chaining skills, this unit can redirect attack skills targeting to itself regardless of speed in a focused encounter. When gaining haste, gain Clash Power up instead, but you can't gain haste after that, so you only get 1 Clash Power per turn based on your haste boosts. Also, funnily enough, he actually starts off with 1 to 6 speed range, but it goes to 1 to 5 at Uptie 2 and 1 to 4 at Uptie 3. Oh, also the animation has the eyes looking around, that's kinda creep. Ego Gear Proficiency Manual. Gain defense level up for every ally wearing Ego Gears, but to a maximum of 3. He already has 5 defense level, this guy is absolutely meant to tank. I was partly expecting Mersault to get this, to get an Ego Lamp, but I guess they'd rather Gregor get some time as a tank instead. When an ally dies, gain pierce damage up next turn, once per turn. At Gloom Resonance, gain 1 lamp for every 2 Gloom Resonance up to 3. So 2 turns of a maximum Gloom Resonance will max out your lamp. If an enemy has Dazzle, heal SP. Funnily enough, I think that means that you can just chain Dazzle onto your opponent if you just get enough Gloom each turn. At turn end, apply Guardians of the Forest next turn to the ally with the earliest deployment order, who is not, this unit, an ally with Guardian of the Forest or cannot heal SP. Before attack, activate the following effects. Plus coin skills heal 4 SP, or 2 offense level up next turn. Minus coin skills lose 8 SP but cannot be reduced below -40. Lose this effect. Was there more lives to be saved? At 3 Wrath Resonance, turn end. The ally with the earliest deployment order among those with negative effects gain aggro and blunt damage up. It ties into him having the diffraction hammer, I guess. And finally, the Wick of Burned Feathers. Gain up to 8 lamp, but for every stack gained, take HP damage equal to 1% of max HP. We cannot be reduced below 1. At turn end, apply haste next turn to bind on self divided by 2 other allies with the lowest speed. Once per turn, rounded down. It's a clashable guard with an unbreakable coin. It rolls 3 plus 10, but it also has 5 defense level. So 5, 5, 2, 1. His sanity effects, they're the same as usual. I think they need to have some sort of tag that indicates there are different sanity effects than usual up there, I think. Pierce resistant but blunt fatal is not a type that I was expecting. Was there something else I was thinking of with this? So at turn end, turn 8 stacks into 3 Dazzle. With the most HP. Okay, so it is set to target specific enemy. I guess you need to try and time your lamp generation just before the skill 3 shows up. It is Gregor. You have to remember, he isn't Mersault with the with the massive amount of protection for being over-targeted, but Gregor does have the ability to heal from low HP. The downside is that I don't think you want to sit at 1 HP because bleed and burn are still things. You can be reduced below 1 HP pretty easily on your turn before you even get to act. Okay, so the other thing that we can look at is Pinky Apprentice Sinclair. Gloom skill 1, rolls an 11, gain 3 poise count. For every 6 poise on self, gain 1 coin power. Gain 2 poise and bleed count. Wait, no, inflict bleed count, gain haste next turn. On crit and gain haste next turn. Oh no, crit heads hit, also gain haste next turn, but only once per turn. Nameless slash, unfocused fully, because of course. Base power +1 for every 6 poise on self. Gain 3 poise, gain 1 poise count. It doesn't actually give out poise count, so this rolls out to a 0 at max poise potency. On crit heads hit, reuse this coin once per skill. At 10 plus Moonlit Azure Blade, reuse this coin once per skill. But it does gain poise count, so each head hit is going to keep a stable poise count. The downside is that this means it ends up being -1 at the end of the turn. But it's not the worst yet. At 20 Moonlit Azure Blade, convert all coins of this skill into unbreakable coins. Coin power +1 for every 4 poise. Base power +1 for every Moonlit Azure Blade. Gain 7 poise. Attack weight +1 for every Moonlit Azure Blade. Consume 5 Azure Blade for every attack weight gained due to this skill's effect. This is interesting when you compare it with the nonsense that the Blood Fiends have to deal with, because Blood Fiends have a tendency to consume all of their charge effect, but here you only lose half of it. So that's 1, 2, yeah, that's all pretty good stuff. Plus, because it's on use, but not this is gained before attack, you can gain the 7 poise. And I'm pretty sure that poise turns into Moonlit Azure Blade, which means you can actually get that 7. If you have even 3 poise, then it immediately jumps up to... oh, what's it? Actually, I forget the conversion. I shouldn't be too aggressive about it yet. But it is a 1 coin starting at 8, ending at 22. Coin power for every poise +5, 19. Base power +5. Oh boy, so that's a 10. So we go for 13 plus 19. That is actually beating 30. Sinclair's finally done it. He's finally found an identity that can outroll his... He's got an identity that can outroll the... who's it? The Encore Sinclair. Defense, Clashable Guard. At 25 plus poise, change this skill to Swerve. Gain 8 poise once per turn, gain 2 poise count once per turn. Gain shield equal to Moonlit Azure Blade stack once per turn. Gain 4 poise count once per turn. Gain crit damage up next turn. Twice per turn, but on evade. Alright, if we look at his passives, any excess poise past 25 will be converted to Moonlit Azure Blade, to a maximum of 15. But there's a max stack of 20. So hang on. For every 10 Azure Blade on self, gain 1 attack weight, but consume 5 Azure Blade for every attack weight gained due to the skill. Which means, okay, this is actually pretty poise count negative. I'd say -2 if you're at your max poise potency, so not the greatest of situations. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. Combat start, gain Pride Resonance divided by 2 plus 1 poise to a maximum of 4. Wow. At 20 poise, gain 1 poise count. Okay, so he's not too bad off here. Support. The ally with the fastest speed heals 5 SP and gains 5 shield when starting combat with a defense skill equipped. And he doesn't have any interesting sanity effects. Alright, there is definitely potential here. Okay, so... That's a really confusing... Oh, never mind. I was thinking, well, if it doesn't consume attack, it doesn't consume his blade, but it does. It consumes it down here. Oh well. I tried. And now, the actually interesting part of the episode. The part that I'm probably extremely out of date for because anyone who actually cares about this has already seen it. Middle Apprentice Ishmael.
아, 엄마. 들어올 때 노크 좀 해달라니까. 아니, 들어오는 게 싫은 건 아니고. 그냥 월간 해결사 잡지 보고 있었어. 안 바쁘면 엄마도 다음에 누구 죽일지 같이 볼래?
It's easy to forget that they do more than just hang around reading comics and checking out their junk. They actually do have a job killing people. So then, start from the scratch. I have a plan of what to do with Ishmael though. So, Ishmael's Pinky Apprentice. Rolls a 9. Heals 5 SP, inflicts a bleed. Rolls a 15, which isn't too bad for an Uptie 1. This skill gains offense level by highest resonance divided by 2, and plus 2 offense level, plus 3 offense level. Inflict bleed and bleed count. Gain 25% of missing HP as shield. Lower user's stagger threshold by 6, and inflict 1 bleed. She doesn't count as a burn identity until Uptie 2. That's important to know. And that's where all her passives go. And she doesn't have anything interesting in sanity either. So, go from 2 to 6 to 3 to 6. Add the coin power conditional between burn and bleed. Inflict 2 bleed, and deal 5 blunt bonus damage. If target has burn plus bleed, coin power plus 1. If this unit has thermal blades, on hit with first and second coins, inflict burn by the base amount of bleed the skill inflicts. So that means that the wound cleared does not help here. But it does make me wonder if the bleed also inflicts burn count here or not. We'll have to check that out in our experiment in a few minutes. This unit is considered as an identity that inflicts burn and bleed. While thermal blades are active, skills that inflict bleed are also skills that inflict burn. The middle never forgets, you know. Turn end. Inflict vengeance mark to the enemy that dealt the most skill damage to an ally this turn. Every time this unit is hit by an enemy, gain 2 middle the grudge. When another middle ally is hit by an enemy, gain middle the grudge. Gain middle styled tattoos every time this unit consumes 5 grudge twice per turn. She can get up to 15 middle grudge. But the thing is, these augmentation tattoos don't show anything really interesting until you get to 5. Which means that it takes 3 turns to kick in for that final power. If this unit does not have thermal blades, at 3 plus NV resonance, gain 2 thermal blades next turn. If this unit does have them, NV resonance divided by 3 at turn end, to a maximum of 2. But since there's only a max stack of 2, I'm not sure how important that was. If target hit by base skills has burn, heal 3 SP, so not too bad. Inflict burn when inflicting bleed with skill coins. Can I double check? Right, so this will be a... It's not a certain skill coin, so it's specifically this one that will heal SP on hit. Anyway, we uptie. I actually like this. I like this identity art. I know it's about to change here, but I do like it. So, speed goes from 3 to 6 to 4 to 7. Violet Breaking Slam. If target has burn plus bleed, coin power plus 1. This skill gains offense level by highest resonance. If this unit has thermal blades, on hit with first, second and fourth skills inflict burn by the base amount of bleed this skill inflicts. At 5 plus middle the grudge, gain final power. Consume all middle grudge on self. Inflict bleed, bleed count. Deal NV resonance times 5% of this coin's final damage as slash bonus damage. And inflict more bleed. First, second and fourth. Alright, raise the coin power to 4. So it rolls a max of 11. Raise the base power to 4. So it rolls a 16. And get the support passive, hey yen to fixes 2. Clash power plus 1 for the number 1 deployed identity's base attack skills. If the dashboard has NV absolute resonance, deal 10% damage with base attack skills. Alright, let's see this Uptie story.
벌써 죽어버리니 아쉽네요. 시티 파이터 3에 나오는 주인공이랑 똑같아서 잡지 인터뷰나 방송에서 언급한 기술은 전부 보고 싶었거든요. 아, 죽이기 전에 사인도 받아뒀어야 했는데.
Skills that require resources will be cancelled if the character is requiring the missing amount. You're working late tonight. Why? There's this tricky vengeance they're having some trouble avenging. So, as a great sister, I decided to avenge it in their stead. Is there something you need my help with? I thought you've already finished your homework for the week, kiddo. I mean, staying home all day can get a bit boring, you know? Play some video games, read some comic books, and I'll be home before you even know it. Mama's gotta do her homework too. The nurse fathers of the House of Spiders. It is true they had been made to step back from the front lines of their respective fingers' businesses. That they no longer played a vital part in day-to-day conflicts of the backstreets. Yet from any practical point of view, letting them idle away their time would have been an outright waste for the fingers. Just because they were now regarded as has-beens does not subtly invalidate the battle-proven competence that naturally came with years of experience. Which is why, although the nurse fathers were not freed from this proverbial hell, fingers still continue to assign them various tasks that lay beyond the scope of their duties in the House of Spiders. The missions, also known as homeworks, assignments, or labours, as called by the inhabitants of the House of Spiders, have been a constant since the emergence of the organisation. It's just, I get the vibes they're always swamping you with work, Mama. Mama's workload is smack dab in the middle, kiddo. Of course, the workload of said homework varies by finger. It seems like this is going to be... I can't be 100% certain on it, but it feels like this version of the Nurse Fathers aren't as much outcasts as the actual ones that we thought were. But I could always be wrong. We haven't actually seen any of them show up as IDs yet. One of them, under the command of Capo de Capi, had been sent to fight the front lines of the war, while another was always absent due to prescripts. Other Nurse Fathers would write replies to messages requesting their input on research and gallery management, while some simply did not receive any homework for relatively long stretches of time. But I can get something on my way home if you'd like, kiddo. For real? Then can you get me issue 35 and issue 36 of Fix It Insights? Of course. Kiddo, you can go out and play if you're bored. I'll let the other Nurse Fathers know. Alright. Silence descends upon the great empty house as soon as the child's mother leaves, her absence leaving a substantial void behind. The child, who could not for her life grow accustomed to the quiet, turned on the TV, played her favourite video games, flipped through the pages of her treasured comic books. Perhaps it was because she had already gone through them all, or because she had simply grown tired of them, but... Bruh, this is mad boring. Maybe I do need some fresh air. All the games, comic books, and the fixer videos that would normally have captured the child's attention failed to give her even the slightest bit of enjoyment today. Well, Mama did say I can go out and play today. The child turned the TV off with dissatisfied pout before raking her eyes through the pages of her book. Her hand searched for her weapon, and once her grip found the blade, she smoothly jumped to her feet. She then rushed out of her room as though the sheer size of it had become an oppressive weight she could no longer bear alone. Ugh, that chain. The vengeances listed in the book are shared among the members of the Middle, so sometimes the child would encounter the so-called brothers and sisters of the finger. For better or worse, most members of the Middle were completely unaware of who the child was or the organization she belonged to. But the chain of loyalty around her arms told her that she was, perhaps, one of them. Haven't you seen you around before, you a newbie? This ain't the kind of vengeance you can cross out without backup. Why'd they send a new sister out here all on her own? By the time you'd become a big brother or sister of the Middle, however, there were certain things you could pick up without meaning to. They may come in the form of a warning written in the fine print of the corner of the page, or rumours regarding a great sister who had forsworn the absolute loyalty to which every member of the Middle is expected to adhere. Actually I take it back then. Wait a minute, you. Are you Great Sister Utis's daughter? Oh, you know my mama? Yeah, I know of her. But first, let's hear who you're here for. What vengeance are you here to avenge? Soul Office. Not only are they behind on protection fees, but they also killed the middle sibling who went there to collect, so... Guess we share the same target. Man, I thought I asked Sis to make that our time, sure that our targets won't overlap. Do you think I can join you? Well, it's true you're part of the Middle, but you're not exactly family, so... It was just as the big brother said. The child was indeed part of the Middle, but she wasn't a full member of the syndicate. She was wearing the chains of loyalty, but was not granted the vengeance tattoos that the brothers and sisters shared, which meant she had no choice but to use the Middle-styled augmentation tattoos. On top of that, she never received a title. She was a sister to no one in the Middle. In any serious discussion of the child's affiliation, it would be more accurate to say she belonged to the House of Spiders rather than the Middle. Still, the big brother needed to ensure the survival of his younger siblings and carry out the vengeance. And for that purpose, there were clear benefits to having someone of her strength join the fight. The Middle's big brother decided to make an exception just for today. We'll let you come with us until we take care of this vengeance. But under one condition. You will not talk to, let alone discuss the matters of your organization with my younger siblings. Okay. Here comes the fixers, right on time. Don't even bother checking the book for their punishment, boys and girls. They killed one of us. That's a crime that deserves nothing but the complete and total obliteration of their being. Get 'em! On it, big bro! With the child on their side, it wasn't long before the battle ended in the Middle's decisive victory. Each flourish of the child's blade cut cleanly through the mayhem of the brawl, quickly turning the tide of the battle. And the child's intimate knowledge of the fixer's techniques quickly made quick work of their office rep, ending the battle with one of her blades slashing through the enemy's jugular. Heh, we totally owned them. Let's face it, I totally carried the team. Guys? Well, that's a job well done. Let's head back. But the siblings do not utter a word of acknowledgement for the child, whose placement among them was quite awkward. Led by their big brother, the middle crew hurried away, turning their backs on the child without giving her so much as a chance to bid them farewell. And they're gone. Oh man. Should have asked for an autograph before killing him. Mama's not going to be back for a few more hours. What else is there to do? I mean, it's not like there's anyone to hang with, even if I go home. But there's literally nothing to do out here either. Screw it, guess I'll head home. A few hours after arriving home... Princess, what are you doing out here on the couch? The child leaped up from the sofa at the sound of her nurse father's distinctive footsteps. Mama! I hope you've been behaving yourself while I was gone, kiddo. Here you go. Fix a magazine you wanted. Oh, hey! Fixes Monthly? Got the whole damn shelf for you on my way home. There should be some comic books in there too. These magazines and comic books weren't exactly the kind that the child wanted. Some of them were even quite far from her tastes, but... You're the best mum ever, Mama! The child nonetheless smiled happily, because Mama had purchased them just for her sake. That's what she believed anyway. Interesting context, given what we saw in the main story, I'll say that much. So anyway, off screen I actually did something. I grinded out a whole bunch of identity training tickets. That is because I have a goal in mind. There's a reason I set this to be my envy team. And waited until today. I want to see what she can do in this. Now I should probably pull Mersault to the front, but we're a bit behind on his levels as well, so we'll hold off on that for a bit. Maybe do some level upkeep before we get to that point. This feels slightly unnecessary, doesn't it? The downside is that because you start every fight at 0 resources, you can't activate resource gained skills immediately. Also, I think middle has a disadvantage with the teddy in that we're not going to be triggering its attachment very well if we keep jumping over to the defensive skills for resonances. He won't get the damage bonus because we will have that defense level down regardless. I think the only identity that has a chance of accidentally doing that is Dicey Rodian. On the upside, they do get their SP back pretty quickly.
내가 시범을 보이지.
이거 공감 맞지? 야! 필살! 바이올렛 브레이크 슬램!
Oh wow, Rodian got stupid lucky there. One, two, 3, 4. Okay, we can make this work. Somehow. Hopefully.
내가 시범을 보이지.
차라리 아무것도 남지 마라.
재밌겠는데?
잠깐, 정지. 너 기념품을 주고 갔잖아. 거기 그대로 있어. 나
They
기념품을
keep
집어넣어줄게.
putting in an entire paragraph's worth of dialogue and then forgetting to add the line break. I saw this skill back at its launch And it did go off the top of the screen just like Ishmael's alternate Zayn did.
엄마만큼은 못하지만 나도 녹이면서 뵐 수 있거든.
Would be really nice if Ishmael had an envy ego right about now.
내가 시범을 보이지. 좋아. 장부에서
So yeah,
썼지.
she's not the most important envy. She's not the most important middle identity you're ever going to get, but she does have potential. We just need to get a few more middle IDs or super envy resonance IDs.
자라완을 몇 개 주셨다. 8구의 첨언 놈들은 운 좋은 거라고. 꽤 귀한 거거든.
The fact that Sinclair has 3 high power envy skills makes him the highest damage here. But anyhow, until next time guys, take care, I'll see you all around.
마법의 삐삐님과 수준 차이가 천차만별인 수감자들을 알맞게 써먹어야 하는 것도. 해결사 졸라 좋아하지. 멋있는 해결사랑 죽을 때까지 치고받다 모가지 따는 것만큼 재밌는 게 없잖아. 심지어 협회에 소속되었는지 날개에 소속되었는지, 개인 사무소라면 어떤 공방과 제휴를 맺었는지, 기술적인 힘을 중시하는지 개인의 단련을 중시하는지에 따라 싸움법이나 장비도 다른 그... 아이, 물어봤으면 끝까지 듣고 가.
I think everyone wants a chance to voice Don Quixote is what we're picking up here.